All right, guys, here we go. Welcome to your second day of AP Psych. We are going to be moving incredibly quick. We're going to fill in as much as we possibly can of your focus and study guide. Every single day, I would bring your focus and study guide to class because if you bring it to class, I will fill it in for you. Last period, I filled out probably a third of their study guide and probably a little less than a third of their focus. So if you come to class and you're ready to go, I will fill in a bunch of stuff for you. I'm going to help you find where these things are in your focus and your study guide, but you need to be flipping back and forth because you have a list on the back of your focus. I'll be trying to help, but the more you do, the better everything is. Is everyone clear? Remember, you don't need a notebook for this class. Everything that is of value, you're going to put on a focus or your study guide. Everyone good? So, friendly reminder, you do have a test on Friday, 25 questions, all multiple choice. By the end of this week, I will pretty much have your focus and your study guide completely filled out for you. So that'll be one thing done. The only thing that you have full responsibility is your outline. And hopefully you guys got to start on that yesterday. Some of us finished it. Good for you. But the rest of us, as I assume, you still have some more to do, so I would work through that. Tomorrow you do have another vocab quiz, 11 through 20. It's the same exact format you just saw. Literally the same exact thing. Just maybe a little faster. What do you think? Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's get started. Not every single thing that I have up here is going to have a spot on your paper. But there's a reason why I'm going to talk about something to get you somewhere else. Is that clear? So don't be like, Miss Bennett, where is this? I will let you know. Is that fair? Okay. So, AP Psych. So what is psychology? It is a scientific study of behavior and mental processes. Now, this happens to be a part of question number 1 on your focus, by the way. I'm going to answer question number 1 here in a second. Now, question number 1, how does it need to be written?
Complete sentences.
So full and complete sentences. On your study guide, does it have to be full and complete sentences? No, it can be whatever you need it to be. So, psychology is the scientific study of thoughts and behaviors and mental processes. So, what is the difference between, what is philosophy? Someone asked me, what is the difference between philosophy and psychology? What is philosophy? Let's start there. What is philosophy, Grace Mary?
Using the brain to see ideas that explain what's going on around you.
Kind of. What is what do you got? Caroline. It's all in what? Well, not space. Well, we're all in space, technically. We're just flying around in a big rock. Okay? It's all in rational thought. That's what philosophy is. It's ideas. How are everything proven? It's all like theories. It's all rational thoughts put together. That's what philosophy is. Psychology is not. What is the difference between philosophy and psychology? What does psychology have that philosophy doesn't? What do you got, Potter?
It's like the study of the mind directly. And
Okay,
philosophy
so
is just something about whatever that is.
well, it's kind of the study of the mind to a degree. But what does psychology have that philosophy sure as hell doesn't? What do you got for me, Zoe? Yes, we got science! Which means we do like laboratory stuff. Like I got a bunch of really creepy experiments we'll be watching. There's a lot of animals that have been tortured. Because like, I'm not approving, I'm not saying it's okay, I'm just letting you know things like this have happened. We do a lot of scientific study in psychology. Philosophy, is there any science to it? Yeah, it's all rational thought. Like this makes sense because this makes sense and this makes sense. Okay, got it. Psychology has science. So when we talk about psychology, and this is what you need for answer number 1, it breaks down to 2 major components. And those 2 major components are behavior and your mental processes. When we talk about behavior, we're talking about the outward things that you do. Like for instance, when you're really excited, what is something physically you do when you're excited? Are you like a bouncer? Do you like... My little sister was like a bouncer. Like when she got excited, you could physically see it because she would like jump. No one else is. You are Grace Mary. That makes sense. What do you do when you're excited? How about when you're mad? What do you do? Cry. Oh, I'm such a good mad crier. I am so good at it. I can hate cry anyone. at any time. You want a hate cry? I can pull it up right now and do it. Okay? What else do we do when we're mad? Who here screams? Anyone a screamer? Anyone a punching thing? My brother's a punch walls kind of person, but he is twice, not once, but twice, punched a stud and shattered his hand. Twice. Twice, by the way. Okay, my brother's a puncher. What else is another way we physically show our anger? Since we're not talking about happiness here. What do you got, Sadie?
Technically, like just like us glaring.
Oh, okay, okay. Who goes running? Who? Of course you would, Sophia. Who would use that rage for something proactive? Anyone here an eater when you're angry? That's me. Oh, hell yes. I can eat anything.
Yeah,
Give me a cake. Oh, man, what a perfect thing. That's what behavior is. It's something we can physically see. Mental processes are obviously the trickier part. Every single person in this room is a weirdo. But we spend every single day trying to not let other people know how weird we are. Can we agree? You can smile. Everyone in this room is weird. I have a husband. We've been married 6 years. He is so weird. When you live with someone, we've been together 12 years. We've only been married 6. Oh my God. It's eye-opening. He is weird as hell. And I apparently am not perfect, but I mean, I'm pretty close. But the idea is that like things that you think about and stuff in your head and trying not to show people, that's all like your mental process of how you think about things and how you react. Anyone here in your head go to the worst case scenario immediately? Like you see it's raining outside and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die in a ditch and I'm going to drown in my car. Okay? That is a mental process that some people are like, oh my God, it's raining. Oh, the world's getting a bath. Some people think like that. Can you imagine living your life like that? It's not who I am as a person. But each of us have different mental processes, and that's how we see the world, and that's why all of our brains are a little bit different. Some of us are really big weirdos like me. Some of you are way cooler weirdos, and you hide it better. But all of our mental processes are totally different, and that's how it makes us special, if you want to go that corny route, or that what makes us interesting. So the biggest thing about psychology is you need to know it's a science. We are a science. When we talk about it, I should have answered one. You should be done with one.
I know, but I was listening to you talk and then I didn't get that. So, but I got it myself.
You got it? So when we talk about the goal of psychology, we're doing description, explanation, prediction, and of course control. Ladies and gentlemen, you shouldn't have to write this down. This isn't anywhere. What does this look like to you? Scientific method. That's it. It's science. We're trying to put as much science as we possibly can into psychology, and that's what we'll go to. Okay? So let's start filling in some big things here. So history, of course, philosophy has played a role in psychology. That's where some of these big root questions is why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? However, psychology doesn't start until structuralism. I would fill this in on your study guide or on your focus. It really doesn't matter, but it's in both, so you can go back and forth. It's either or. Perfect. So structuralism is focused on the structure of basic elements of the mind. In your little box that says structuralism on your study guide, I would write number 1 next to it because it is the first branch of psychology and you need to know that. Structuralism is the first branch of psychology. Okay? Somewhere on your notes, you need to have that. Structuralism is the first branch of psychology. And it looks at how your brain works. And how does it work that way and why does it work that way? It's looking at the structure, the basic elements of the mind. That's it. You need to know that William Wounded, who happens to be number 1 on your study guide, is the founder of structuralism. He's also the founder of psychology. You need to know both of those titles. So William Wounded, who is on the top of your study guide, is the founder of psychology. He created it. And he created specifically structuralism. Okay, so somewhere you need to tie William Wounded to structuralism. Now William Wounded is German. You do need to know that. Okay, I don't care if you know from 1879 is when he created that. I don't care. You do need to know he's German. Okay, he's going to create the first lab in 1879 in Germany, and he's going to start putting science with, or basic foundations of science, to philosophy, and that's how we get psychology. The only tool, and you need to use this language, the only tool of structuralism is, somewhere, Introspection. You need to know that term. It's like your second or third question on your test on Friday. You need to write down somewhere, whether in William Wounded's box or in the structural box, that the only tool of structuralism is introspection, which is right there. Introspection is thinking about thinking. Sounds like a terrible time, doesn't it? So, the only way William Wounded could collect research on how his brain works is to think about how his brain works. So he would be like, well, I'm sad today. What part of my brain is making me sad? Okay, and he would sit there and think about it. Okay, and that's how they would lay the foundation of what made him sad, how would that react, and all those different types of components. Structuralism, William Wounded, first branch, introspection. You also need to know the name Titchener. Titchener's on the back of your focus, by the way. On the back of your focus, there's a long list of names. Titchener's on there. Isn't it? Nope, I lied to you. I didn't mean to. In the structuralism box, you need to know that Titchener exists. So you have an application definition box. You need to know in structuralism, you need to have both Wounded and Titchener. So for right now, you guys should have all 4 boxes filled out at this point on your study guide. You need to know there are 2 people for structuralism you need to know, William Wounded and Titchener. Actually, there's 3. You got Margaret Washburn coming up. Okay, so Titchener, give me 2 seconds and I'll answer anything you got, Claire. Titchener is a student of Wounded. He is an American. He flew from California, flew to Germany, and started under Wounded for like 20 years. They sat together, they ate together, they did research together, and he's like, I love you, Wounded. And he's like, I love you, Titchener. And Titchener said, you know what? I'm going to bring this to America. So Titchener leaves Germany, goes to America, goes to UCLA. So if you're a huge psychology person, you go to UCLA. It's like a premier place for psychology in the United States. And he started his own study of psychology here in the United States. Because of Titchener, the United States is the preeminent researcher of psychology. More research studies are done in the United States than anywhere else, and it's because of your boy Titchener, and for some reason, AP cares about that. Okay, so Titchener. You also need to know the name Margaret Washburn. Margaret Washburn is on the back of your focus, by the way. We've got like 6 women all year, so please enjoy this one. Margaret Washburn is Titchener's student, so what branch of psychology does she follow? Structuralism, okay? She is a student. She was the first person to earn her PhD, but guess what? She never got it. Harvard wouldn't give it to her. Why wouldn't Harvard give it to her? She's a woman. She got it posthumously or post-death. So she's technically the first person to earn it, first woman to earn it. However, Harvard wouldn't give it to her. Let's see what's up. Very good. Okay. So for 3 people you need to know for structuralism: Wounded, Titchener, Washburn. What do you got? Okay.
What exactly goes in the application box?
What thinking introspection would be a good thing to have there, something like that. It's like using it in real life. As we get going, when we're not in theories, like when we're in theories, it makes more sense. When we're in people and talking about like perspectives, it's not like ideal. All right, here we go. Functionalism is your second branch of psychology. It happens to be the box right below on your study guide, by the way. Okay, so functionalism is how the mind allows people to adapt, live, work, and play. So, if you look up here for 2 seconds up on my board, so we have psychologies created. The first branch is structuralism that looks at how the brain functions. Now, functionalism is looking at how the brain functions. See, you got it there. You figured it out. Yes, it's how the brain works and why does it work differently. Okay? Have you ever looked at like your brother and your sister and you've been like, oh my God, why did they get this gene? Like, for instance, my brother is the most self-confident person you've ever met, to a fault, because he's an idiot. But he doesn't know that because he has no self-awareness. But like, he is just like charged into things, you know? Like, Mark Reeves thinks like, oh, he gets an idea and he just goes heads on into it. And I have like, I'm going to sit there for like 6 months thinking about it. And Mark Reeves has already smashed through a bunch of stuff. Okay? Have you ever looked at your brother and your sister and wondered, how come they got this gene and I got this gene? Yes? No? You don't compare yourself? Thank you. Okay? That is functionalism, is looking at why things work for this person and don't work for me. Why is this person happier more regularly? Why is this person more depressed? Why is Miss Bennett cranky all the time? Functionalism. That's what it is. Okay? Now, you do need to realize that it is created by William James, who happens to be the box right below. William James is going to create functionalism. Functionalism is then going to create a ton of offshoot. Okay, so psychology's created, the first branch is going to be structuralism. It dies pretty quickly because who wants to sit there thinking about thinking? Can we agree? That's boring as hell. So then functionalism is created. Why does the brain function this way? And it's going to create a huge offshoot of other fields. And that's exactly what we're going to see. Under functionalism on your study guide, I would write number 2. Why should you write number 2? It's the second branch created in psychology, so I would make sure you know that. So the first branch is structuralism, the second branch is functionalism. Okay. So now that we're going to start heading into our modern perspectives, they're all going to fall under functionalism. So it's looking at how the brain works and why does the brain do it in that way. The first one we have is Gestalt. If you had to pick what language Gestalt comes from, what language do you think it's from?
French.
German. Who said German? Why do you think it's German? Why does that make perfect logical sense, Grace Mary?
Well, the first person was German, and also
There you go. Well, Mundit's German, right? Is that how you say it? Okay, that's not coming out. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Gestalt psychology is German-based because Wundit's from Germany. Now, Titchener is going to be incredibly influential, and he's from America. So we're going to see a lot of other stuff that you will see. So, Gestalt psychology is good figure psychology. You need to write this down. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. What does that mean? You've heard this before. What does that mean? Oh gosh, what do you got?
Instead of breaking
Zoe, right?
Yeah. Instead of breaking things down into a bunch of little pieces to see how they connect, it looks kind of the overall idea.
Yeah, for sure. So if you had like someone with talent, and I don't have any talent, so it's fine. If I got up here and sang a song, like row, 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 I don't know why that was the first song that came to me, but we're going with it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Cool or not cool? No one really gives a shit. Like, you're like, why the hell is this woman singing row, row, row your boat? That's fine. However, if I got 100 people to do it in a canon, and these people, in a canon, that was like the only musical term I know, they're all doing it at different segments, so it sounds really cool. Shut up, okay? I don't know much. I was excited
I
about
thought
that.
you were literally saying a cannon, like a giant
Aren't you a
military.
music person?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand that's what you were referencing, though.
Imagine! Imagine! I had 50 people standing with me who have musical talent, by the way, not quite like myself, who are all singing it in different ways, and some of these are like Beyonce, who are like fabulous, and like, you know, all these incredible singers all doing it. Would you be impressed then?
Mhm.
Yes, you better be. If Beyonce's singing Row Row Your Boat, you better just sit there and just clap the whole time. You're like, yes, see. Okay? With that being said, the sum is better than the parts. I'm one person, kind of sucks. If I had 50 people up here with me and Beyonce was standing next to me, you'd be impressed, wouldn't you? The sum of the parts. You look at the whole picture. In your application, I want you to write perception. Perception. That's really where we study this when we get to sensation and perception. Have you ever seen those images where they have, like, you see, like, you look at something and then things start moving on the page? Yes. Do you not have any fun in your childhood? Yes, all of your optical illusions and all that stuff. Have you ever seen, like, the young lady and then you look a little differently and then she's an old lady? Yes? All of those things are dealing with yourself. Because you have to look at the big picture. By looking at the big picture, you can see all of the components and they all work together. That's what we're looking at. Okay? You do need to know it was created by a guy named Wertheimer. Okay? That's the guy who created Gestalt psychology, is Wertheimer. He is not on the back of your focus, though. But you should write his name down next to Gestalt psychology on the box. Okay? He falls with cognitive. He really liked the cognitive psychology and just all kind of goes somewhere. All right, psychoanalysis. Now this is a big one. This is a huge deal. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this in class. Psychoanalysis is created by the most famous psychologist. Who is the most famous psychologist? Grace. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud is the guy behind psychoanalysis. You need to know that. You need to know that. And you also need to say Freud right. If you know me as
to clear your holes to get your decal.
If you know me as a person, you know I don't pronounce things correctly. It's part of my charm, my charisma, AP World. I butcher every single name I come across. Correct? Nathan's like, absolutely. You need to say Freud right, because every time you say Freud wrong, an AP Psych teacher does. So we don't want to kill anyone. You have to say Freud. Do not call him Freud. Because that literally just sends, like, and I'm not even a Nazi on, like, pronouncing things correctly, but you gotta say Freud. Okay, so, psychoanalysis is theory based on Freud's work. You need to know, in your application, I would write dream analysis. So if you're into dreams and all that crap, this is you. You also need to know your unconscious. The reasons why you do things, your thoughts, your beliefs that are under the surface. Have you ever had like a conversation and something random falls out of your mouth and you're like, holy shit, are you going to start up? That's never happened to you? Okay, that would be your unconscious. Freud would call that a Freudian slip. That you really wanted to say that to that person and that's why you said it. Okay, so he's also, you do need to know, is all about childhood experiences. He believes your childhood experiences are haunting you to this day. So, has anyone here had a childhood experience that it still affects you to this day? Yes, see, pretty much everyone, and the rest of you are liars. Or you haven't become aware of your own hatred of whatever happened to you. Like, for instance, anyone here, like, terrified of thunder and lightning? Is it because of a terrible experience as a child? There you go. Everyone's fears, according to Freud, which I kind of agree with most of the time, is connected to some sort of childhood thing. So if you hate ketchup, Freud would say it's because your mother tried drowning you in ketchup. I don't know, but some sort of thing. Okay, so that's psychoanalysis. You need to know that Freud is psychoanalysis. You could be filling this out on your focus as well. It has psychoanalytic, psychodynamic, by the way. Bye, guys. Hopefully you saw that we do get a lot done in class, right? Okay, so tomorrow, we're definitely going to finish this. I hope you have a great day. Tomorrow you have 11 through 20. See ya. Make good decisions. Yes, Doctor. Yeah, I'm recording it right now, actually.